Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. This is Golden High Flow Acrylics and it is carbon black. It has a nozzle very similar to what you would find on glue, and I have to clear this nozzle before using it because it tends to clog up. I like this black because it serves like an ink, and it's very fluid, but it's very opaque. So I'm going to use it like a pen and start doing my circular lines. Now, it tends to drag on the plate because of the nature of the plate, but it adds texture. And it's very different from a Sharpie pen because it's a different kind of look to it. It's more uneven. Okay, so that's it for the first layer. And I always make sure before I put this away, I clean it for the next use. It's only 1 fluid ounce, but it does go a long way, at least for my purposes. So that was my carbon black high flow acrylic. So anyway, I will dry this first before I apply a second layer of paint. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, this has dried a little bit. Now I'm going to try to pick it up with this titanium white Blicrylic, and hopefully it's not going to be too fast drying. The good thing about Blicrylic is it is on the fluid or watery side, so it's not too thick. It's kind of like the texture of fur. I look at it. Okay. So this will serve as a first layer. Again, I'm putting just a little bit of pressure on the edges because I like the edges to be clearly defined. So I will leave this for another 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's see what we have here. I think it's a very good transfer. I can tell from the first few inches. It's even picked up the ghost from last time, which I didn't clean off. It almost looks like a lithograph. Check this out. I think that's such a cool result. After just one pull, it looks like very elaborate oil painting. But as you can see, it does not take too much effort to create an image that looks like I've labored hours on. So anyway, I will air dry this and proceed to the next step. Okay, here is my next step. I am going to employ the help of my mixture of Vaseline and baby oil. And this always yields some interesting result. Now I'm painting the usual circles that I'm very fond of. So it's a interesting mix of lines and circles. So I am going to do something a little bold. I'm going to use Mars Black. And this is kind of like going back to basics. It's when you first learn printmaking, you just do black and white. You don't get involved in colors yet. And this is kind of like that, going back to basics. And as you can see, the oil is repelling the water-based paint, creating this kind of web. So here is the first pole with the scribbles. Hopefully the registration will be accurate. So I do want the designs to line up. Okay, again, I will leave this for about 5 minutes. Okay, let's see what we have here. It's exciting. I think it picked up most of the black. Pretty mysterious looking. As for second layer, it looks like a wax resist or batik. So again, I will air dry this and contemplate a third layer. Now, I'm going to try to reclaim this. So I think it's too good to waste. So this is Naples yellow and some raw sienna. I find that I like raw sienna a lot. It's first the color and also the consistency of it. It's a little fluid and it tends to pick up ghost prints very well. Now I'm going to do something a little daring by adding a touch of color. This is fluorescent orange. It's brand new, so I thought I would just a drop of it. and see what happens. Just start with the fluorescent color. Now, because of the oil resist, it's starting to create textures. That's fine. Let me add my usual scribble marks. Now, when the paint is very wet like this, it takes the scribbles very well. So I'm going to town with the scribble marks. Okay. Okay, another 5 minutes, and then I will pull this. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Let's see what we have here. Very good transfer. I love the fluorescent. Very cool. Again, I'm going to let this dry and then decide on the next step. Now I'm just going to leave this as is and use my reusable stencils as a guide. Again, I'm going to use cadmium red as a splash of color in the middle. And Naples yellow on the outside. You know, do something crazy. I'm gonna use, I got some on my hand here, I'm not gonna waste it. Some Arctic on the bottom. Okay. So I will start with the light color, which is the Naples yellow. Going into the red, and then blending into the Arctic. Now hopefully this will be a painterly result. And I want the effect to be very opaque. Since there are so many little parts, I have to be careful not to forget. Okay, so here is the print with the oil resist. Now I'm going to overlap it with some reusable stencils. Hopefully the bright colors will wake up the black and white. Now, even if this is a thick watercolor paper, I notice it's starting to show signs of stress, because pulling paper off a sticky gel plate puts the paper under a lot of stress. Just to point that out. And that's why when I pull the paper, I do it very carefully and very slowly. Okay, I'm not going to leave this too long, because I don't want to subject the paper to any more further strain. I think that is pretty cool. Check this out. So from a purely black and white piece, it becomes a little more lively with the introduction of these, I would say, fiery colors. And this is such a nice ghost print. Let me see if I can do what happens if I use turquoise. And some Arctic. I think I made a mess here. Now, being an artist, I'm not scared to get my hands dirty with paint. Before I do that, I should clean this off, just to make sure that the edges are clean. This is where the registration bar pays off. When I'm doing a series of prints, the images always fall in the same place. And that's like one less thing I have to worry about. Okay, it's been over 5 minutes. Let's see what we have here. I can see the paper has absorbed all the moisture of the paint. It's a pretty wild result. It's very painterly. Very cool. Almost like an impressionist painting. There's a little spot here, but I can remedy that. So this gets air dried and I will decide the next step. This is still pretty good ghost print. So I will try to retrieve it. That is cadmium red. Here's some Naples yellow. And I'll try something wild. I'll try some ultramarine violet. Let's see what happens. What I'm doing is trying my best to flatten out the layer of paint, that it's very even. I'm glad I got a whole bunch of this Strathmore. They come in packages of 10 and they are not that expensive. They come out to about $33 for a package of 10, which makes them $3.30, I'm sorry, per sheet. And I think that's very reasonable price for a good art paper. It's really designed for watercolor, but I find that for jelly printing it does a good job. It has a tooth to it, but it's not too rough. It has a texture, and I think the texture helps pick up the ghost prints. And I like the fact that it's pretty sturdy. It's not a delicate paper. Okay, again, I will leave this for 5 minutes. Okay, let's see what we have here. The paper is actually pulling away from the plate. I like that. Oh, this is cool. This is so cool. I think in an image like this, the subject matter is the color itself. I don't think I need to add any other layers on top of this. So anyway, I will air dry this and then recap and do a summary. Okay, I'm back. I had time to wash up. I oiled my plate with baby oil, and I'm covering this with a sheet, my cheat sheet, just to keep the oil from smearing all over. I'm going to do a summary of today's print session. I think it was pretty productive. So I will start with the first one. Let me just clear this up. Now here is a close-up. So as you can see, it's almost like a wax resist or batik. Like when you do batik dyeing, the textures are very intricate. Let me show you a medium shot. Now here's the second one. Now this looks more like a silk screen with these shadow textures here. And I like the flash of fluorescent orange in the middle. And then you just see the traces of the oil resist in these circles and these stripes here. That is print number 2. Reminds me of a Rauschenberg in a way. And here is print number 3. I like the color combinations of this one. It's almost like an Impressionist painting. There was a period in French painting called pointillism. I think one of the proponents was Georges Seurat, and he would paint painstakingly with tiny dots to create an image. This reminds me of that. So that is print number 3. And this is the last ghost print. Here's a close-up. What I find interesting is with the jelly plate, you have 4 different prints, but they were all done successively. They all look very different. Almost different time periods. This is like very much like abstract expressionism. So I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. The video is a little long, but I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for all you wonderful subscribers and supporters. And I do hope to see you next time.